Okay, in this recording, balikan natin yung mga Venn diagrams. But Venn diagrams in specific real-world situations. Okay, let's try to interpret Venn diagrams. Let's try to shade uh, regions of the Venn diagram that describe certain subsets of the universe. Okay, so para sa ating example dito, let's use something we're familiar with. Okay, we let our universal set be the set that contains all AJHS students. Dali na maintindihan yan. And the subsets L and G, where L is the set of all Las Tortas students and G is the set of all grade 7 students. Okay? Now if you can imagine, dahil ang L at G with this under this context, they are joint sets because there are Las Tortas students who are in grade 7. So, pag dinrawing natin yung Venn diagram niyan, dapat ganito itsura, no? Two intersecting loops named L and G. Okay? Again, L ay Las Tortas students and G ay grade 7 students. Now, since we're talking about all AJH students, it might also, for this illustration, might also be valuable if we list all, if I'd like to say types of students in the junior high. How many types of students are there? Remember, there are 4 clusters in the AJHS and each cluster ay mayroong isa sa apat na bawat isa sa mga grade levels from grade 7 to 10, no? So 4 clusters, 4 grade levels, that's 16 kumbaga, no? Types of students. Pwedeng ikaw halimbawa, tayo ay nasa grade 7. So nandito tayo, kumbaga, no? Either ikaw ay taga dito, Cardoner, grade 7 student, pwede kang Montserrat, grade 7, pwede kang Pamplona, or Las Tortas 7. Okay? Yung mga klase ng estudyante. So, there are 16 of those. Right. Let's start with an easy example. Ito, let's shade and interpret the operation L union G. The union of sets L and G. Now, remember, madali na to, no? Ang dami natin exercises tungkol dito, union of L and G. If I shade that, it would look like this. Tama, no? The union of L and G. But the question is, and I think this is more important in this case, no? How do we interpret the union of L and G based on our situation? That L and G are Las Tortas students and grade 7 students respectively. Pag kinuha mo union, remember, the union of two sets, no? Includes all elements that are either in the first set, or in this case, set L, or ang importanteng conjunction, no, elements of the set G. But in this context, we therefore are including, no, for in our interpretation, Las Tortas students or grade 7 students. Tama? Yan yung interpretation natin dyan based on our context. Ano context natin ito? Remember, no? Ito nasa left side. Okay? Now, how do we, the reason why I wrote this table down is so we can visualize which students are elements of this set, no? The union of L and G. So, Las Tortas students or grade 7. So, to be a member of this set, to be an element of this set, you only have to satisfy one of the two conditions. It's either you're a Las Tortas student or a grade 7 student. So, sino kasama dito? Ito lahat to mga Las Torta. L7, L8, L9, L10. Lahat yan Las Tortas students. Or, remember, or ang conjunction natin, or you're a grade 7 student. So, kasama etong mga to. No? Mga grade 7, C7, L7, M7, and P7. Okay? Yan yung mga kasama dito sa ating union of L and G. Okay? So, we get to visualize it better using the table as well. No? Kung sino yung kasama. How to interpret our set. Okay? Next. How about, oops. Yeah. Next. Yan. Let's shade and interpret the intersection of L and G. Okay? Pause nyo muna. Think of where you should shade the Venn diagram and how would you interpret that shaded region based on the context. Right, if you hit play, may sagot ka na. Dapat ang shading mo nandito sa gitna. No? The intersection of L and G. And how do you interpret this? L and G. So, dapat last torta and grade 7. Yun yung interpretation natin dyan, no? Ang included dito sa set na to are all grade 7 last torta students. Okay? All grade 7 last torta students. At nasan dyan yung grade 7 last torta students sa ating table? Ito lang naman di ba? Yung L7. Tama. Sila lang yung grade 7 and last torta at the same time. Again, if you notice kanina, no, when we took the union, I'll shade it in pink. The union of the two sets included this, and that, including L7. And notice L7 is at the intersection of those two, no? The intersection of the row, first row, and the second column. Kaya naman din, siya yung nasa intersection ng dalawang sets. Tama, di ba? Oh, makes sense. Okay. Next one. Again, pause muna. Imagine kung saan dapat i-shade at imagine kung ano ang dapat na interpretation ng set na ito. L prime. Right. Dapat may sagot ka na if you hit play. L prime, remember, or the complement of L is all elements that are not in L. So, all elements in the universal set outside of the loop of L. And how do we interpret this? Sabi, no? L ay last torta students. E ano yung L prime? O, di simple lang. Oops, sorry. Ang interpretation natin dyan, non-last torta students. Diba? L prime not last torta. So, sino mga kasama sa L prime? Ito. Lahat ng walang L, kasi last torta yun No? Ito ang mga nasa L prime. No? Mga elements na nasa L prime. Okay? Non-last torta students. Right. It's really important, ha? You need to understand how to interpret these regions of the Venn diagram. Next. Okay mo na ulit. G prime. Pause muna, hit play when you have a shading and an interpretation in mind. Right. Okay. G prime, remember, complement of G or not G. In another way of saying it, not G. So, lahat ng nasa labas ng G. And how do you interpret that? G, ano bang G, sir? Grade 7 students. Ano yung complement nun? Din non-grade 7 students. Okay? Yung mga hindi grade 7. So, sa ating table dito, sino ang kasama sa G prime? Etong mga to. Hindi grade 7. So, mga grade 8, grade 9, wherever the cluster. Sila yung kasama dito sa G prime. Tama? No? Most of the time, no? It's the interpretation of the Venn diagram. If it's used in real-world contexts, it's the interpretation that matters. It's what's important, no? Kasi the Venn diagram is only there to help us visualize the relationship between and among sets. But to interpret, that's really, really important. Next. Okay muna ulit. The intersection of G and the complement of L. No? L prime intersection G. Pause muna, then hit play when you're done. Okay, meron ka na dapat sagot. L prime muna. Tingnan muna natin to, no, by shading. Kapag L prime, remember, it's everything outside of L. Yeah, so ganyan ang itsura niyan. But you have to take its intersection also with G. No? So ano ba dyan yung nasa G daw? Hindi ba ito lang naman? Kasi pag shade mo yung G, it's only this. Tama? So remember this shading and then remember this shading. What do they have in common? Correct. Di ba ito lang? Yan. Ito lang yung common nila. Intersection no? So this is how L prime intersection G should be shaded. Question is, how should it be interpreted? No? Sino itong mga to? Remember, it's L prime, so not last torta, and intersection is end, no? And grade 7. So, ang interpretation natin dito ay, no? Grade 7 students who are not from last torta. Right? So, ating table, sino itong mga to? Grade 7 na hindi last torta. Si Cardoner 7, Montserrat 7, Pamplona 7. Tama? Yan yung L prime intersection G. Okay. Next. Okay muna ulit. Hit play when you're done. That's L intersection G prime. O, kamukha niyan yung previous item, ha? Okay. Pause muna. Try to imagine the shading and the interpretation. Right. If you hit play already. So, kamukha to nung kanina, ano? Ano muna ang G prime? G prime is this. Yeah, try to remember that shading. Now, what is L? Ito si L. Oh, what do they have in common? Again, ito. Tsaka ito. What do they have in common? Correct. Ito lang. Diba? And how is that interpreted? Look at the symbols here. L is Las Torta, students. And yung intersection, G prime is non-grade 7 students. So we're looking for Las Torta students who are not in grade 7. Tama? At sino-sino ang mga sections sa kabilang dyan? Las Torta pero hindi grade 7. Si L8, L9, L10. Correct? Correct. Okay, good. Dali lang, di ba? Okay, I think this is the second to the last one yata. Let's see. Pause muna. And try to shade and write your interpretation of that set. Okay, game. We're looking for the complement of the union of L and G. No? Ano muna ang L union G pag sinade mo? Di ba parang ganito? Ayan. Yung shading ng L union G lang ha. But if we take its complement, so everything inside the universe that is not yellow at the moment, ito yan. Tama? That's the complement of the union of L and G. Okay? Now, how do we interpret this, sir? Now, there are different ways of interpreting this, no? I mean, different ways of phrasing the interpretation. But if you look at this also, no? Tignan itong shaded yellow sa ngayon. Can't this be represented using a different set operation rather, other than what you see here at the bottom, yung complement ng union? In fact, nandito ito sa isang worksheet nyo, worksheet number 3 yata, no? That this is also how you shade the complement of L prime, the complement of G prime, and then you take their intersection. Sorry, pangit ng intersection symbol ko. But isn't that also how this should be shaded? Tignan na, no? L prime is this. Yeah, that's L prime. Tandaan yung shaded portions. This is G prime. Tandaan yung shaded portions. Again, L prime, G prime. What regions do they have in common? Ito, di ba? Yan. So, parang ganyan pala. Ito, si L prime intersection G prime. And in fact, this is actually easier to interpret, no? L prime intersection G prime. L prime is non-Las Torta. G prime is non-grade 7. So, you put them together, no? So, we interpret our region as students who are not in grade 7 and the intersection and not from Las Torta. Di ba? Not grade 7 and not Las Torta. So, sino dito sa ating table yung kasama sa set na ito? Not grade 7. So, immediately, hindi nakasama yung first row. Hindi rin from Las Torta. So, hindi kasama yung second column. Which means, ang kasama lang dito ay ito, yan, ito, at ito. Tama? Students who are not in grade 7, none of these encircled are grade 7 students. None of them are also from Las Torta. So, sila ang ating elements. Okay? Last one. Again, interpret, shade, the complement of the intersection of L and G. Pause muna and then hit play when you have an answer. Right, kung may sagot ka na, no? Simulan natin sa L intersection G muna ulit. Alam natin sa gitna yan. Dito, no? But we need its complement. So the complement of this set is everything inside of the universe that is not yellow. In other words, eto. Ang shading natin dapat dyan, ano? The complement of the intersection of L and G. Now again, how do we interpret that? Remember, complement no, not the intersection. But what is the intersection? Remember, ang intersection ng L and G, ito, yung nasa gitna, yan yung grade 7 Las Torta students. In fact, isang grupo lang yan nandyan, no? L7, Las Torta 7 lang. So, in this case, not Lastorta 7 means what? Very good. Everything else, no, outside of L7. So, ang interpretation natin dito would be students who are not grade 7 Lastorta students. Okay? Ang tanong, sino-sino yan dito sa ating table? Ito lang naman L7 ng Lastorta grade 7 eh. So, the complement of that, even if you look at this table, L7 is what we don't want in this set. But everything in this table, all 16, are part of the universe. So the complement of that, therefore, is, well, if we erase everything here, the complement of that will be ito, everything else. No? Everything else except for L7. Yan, lahat ng elements na pasok doon sa ating set. Okay? And again, it's very important to be able to interpret the regions of the Venn diagram. I really suggest that you watch, rewatch, multiple times itong video na ito in preparation for SA1 Part 2 next week. Okay? In any case, kapag may hindi naintindihan dito, you can always consult your teacher. Okay? But this video is really, really important. Again, watch and rewatch this video in preparation for your summative next week. Thank you.